this week's Torah portion, Parshat Pinchas, the Torah, I think, gives us an answer to a question that many people, myself included, searching for the answer. You know, what's going to make a person live a happy life, a life of serenity, live a long life, to have longevity? People in this world are looking for all types of answers. How to live a long life, how to stay healthy, exercise, vitamins, green tea, antioxidants. What would the Torah say? The Torah teaches us about Pinchas. And the Torah fills in where it left off last week. Pinchas saw that the Jewish people were steeped in immorality, in illicit relations, succumbing to their Yetzer Hara, to their evil inclination. And not just that, but the leader, one of the leaders of the Jewish people, a man named Zimri, a prince of one of the tribes, who had succumbed and had done a terrible sexual illicit act in public with a non-Jewish woman. And Pinchas, what did he do? He saw that and he acted. He said, this cannot go on. He got up and he killed Zimri and the woman Cosby on the spot. And the Torah, in this week's Torah portion, picks up where it left off and tells us that what did Pinchas receive in exchange for what he did? He received Brisi Shalom, the covenant of peace. Not just peace, not just a life of serenity, but the covenant of peace. Now, one thing this teaches us is we have to reevaluate our definition of peace. Peace is not simply to avoid conflict. It's not just to avoid physical conflict and war. Peace is obviously somewhat deeper, because here Pinchas had done a physical act. He had killed someone, and yet he was given in exchange for that peace. So that's one point to ponder. I think we should all think about that. But another thing we see is the following. Pinchas, he receives a life of serenity. Pinchas, we're told, lived for hundreds of years at a time where the lifespan was about 120 years. Pinchas lived for hundreds of years, until the time of the judges. Pinchas was granted a life of serenity and long life. What is the Torah teaching us? If you want to live a long life, a happy life, a life of serenity, do what Pinchas did. And what is that? Don't live for yourself. Live for others. Pinchas risked everything. He got up and he killed a prince, a leader of the Jewish people. He risked everything. We know the Jewish people. We know how it was very likely they could have reacted in a negative way towards Pinchas. And he could have been ostracized, perhaps murdered. His life could have been ruined. But he didn't care. He did what was right. He had to restore the spiritual state of the Jewish people. The Jewish people were succumbed in immorality. Their relationship with God was on the downslide. And he had to fix that. And he had to do what was right. And he did not think about himself. And that is the key. If you want to live a happy, serene, long life, don't think about others. Don't think about yourself. Live a life thinking about what I can do for others. There's a joke. A man came to his rabbi. He wasn't happy. He was miserable. His rabbi said, you know what? I have the perfect advice for you. Travel a few towns over. There's a man who lives in a shack on the side of town. Go and try on his shirt. When you try on his shirt, all of a sudden, you'll become happy. So this miserable man couldn't wait. He was so excited. Finally, he found the answer. He's going to live a life of happiness, of serenity. He travels for a few hours. He reaches that town. He finds that man. He goes to the side of town. Goes to that shack. And he looks. And he opens the door. And he sees a man who looks like the most happy man in the world. So serene, complacent, everything. There's one problem. He didn't have a shirt. He wasn't wearing a shirt. Have a great Shabbos.